Good evening, everyone, and welcome to On the Wrong Lead presents Saratoga Daily. I am here with the one and only Chase. He is guy on the ground. He is of Oaklawn on the Twitter, and he's the purveyor of JustPickWinners.net. He is one of the regular On the Wrong Lead team members, and he's my normal purveyor in talking through bias and talking through what we're seeing and how to make plays out of it. So going into a big stakes day, Saratoga Saturday. Chase, what were you seeing today? What sort of bias and that sort of thing were you playing towards? I know you had a real good day playing verticals.
Yeah, today, especially with the dirt, I felt like yesterday that you definitely had a little bit of a early speed advantage yesterday, and what I was able to pick up on, and it was based off of something you mentioned, was them, getting a harrow into the track and kind of making it a little bit more off the pace friendly later into the card. And so what I really tried to do today was look at early speed, early in the card, and then around the sixth race, try to make a little bit of a shift on the dirt track to more off the pace horses, because I felt like later in the day it was playing a little bit more fair to those off the pace horses on the dirt. Um, and so, doing that, I was able to put together some a couple of plays, vertically that were by far my best plays of the meet. Might have put me actually up into the positive for Saratoga so far this year, just off of three solid bets. Um, the turf, it certainly looked. It had all those symptoms of it wanting to be super speed favoring, but it just seemed like the speed never quite
Yeah.
held. So I think it's kind of drifting back to being a little bit fair. I don't know if we've gotten like a Bull Durham Crash Davis rain out over the night where someone just shows up and turns on the sprinklers to slow it the hell down. Um, but I thought it looked pretty fair. My 5.5 furlong bias with the outside post is still there, and was able to get an absolute steal in the feature with the Rosario Clement horse at 4-1. God, God forgive us for letting that one go off at 4-1. And it looked like early speed did fairly well early in the day, just couldn't quite get there. Then towards the end of the day on the turf, it looked like your early speed was just getting you know absolutely enveloped by late closing horses.
Yeah, I mean, I very much agree with everything you said there. I think the track was playing much more fair today than it has the last 2 days. I was not capitalizing on anything, just bad structure and kind of being very right, well, not quite right enough. And one thing I've really noticed is if you are playing specifically the 7 furlong distance, I know this is something you talk about quite a bit. The 1 and 2 holes have not had a win yet. If you want to win at that distance, you have to be 3 to 7. Those are the only positions that have had wins, and there's been quite a few of those run. And you saw George Weaver horse just getting annihilated out of the 1 hole at 7 furlongs, and it was a real easy horse to fade. The 1, 2, and 3 were the three logicals in the race, and the 3 won because that was the one that the bias played to. So a lot of things like that where you go through and you handicap the races, and then you really kind of got to put that bias skew over the top of it. Over, okay, hey, these positions are just not doing well. I'm going to move these horses down. I'm going to move these horses to less use based on how the track's playing.
That's a lot of way I'll look at it whenever I look at a race is I'll handicap, and whenever I go through a race, I do it the exact same way.
I think we might have lost him here for a second. Arkansas Internet, you're catching up. Oh, Chase. Uh, let's see if his internet catches up here. Give him a second. He is frozen in like the best position ever. That is the best. That is quite the face. Yeah, well, Chase, see if we get his internet back here. We had been talking, obviously the YouTube stream yesterday, doing our live stream. We talked through a lot of these feature races, but I don't think we ever ended up giving some real plays, sort of how we would be putting real money to work in some of these feature races. And I wanted to kind of get, and I think Chase and I were both talking that it would make some sense to build some plays and build some structure in some of the feature races on Saturday. So I think Chase, I think you back.
I'm back.
Oh, good, good, good. So, yeah, I think we had talked about kind of going through the real feature sequence, starting with the Whitney. What are you thinking for play structure here in the Whitney?
Uh, the Whitney, I first I'd like to thank Improbable for showing up because it's going to keep the prices on the plays that I want to make pretty fair, I think. Um, just a word about Improbable is maybe if this horse drew the 5 hole, it might have a chance, but I feel like you got this horse drawn towards the rail. It's going to be way over bet coming off of that last win. Um, I'm all about Tom's d'Etat. That's the horse that you and I have been talking about since March as your more than likely your Breeders' Cup, your Breeders' Cup champion this year. It just looks like a strong horse. So what I'm going to do is use that strong opinion on top. And with this short of a field, I feel like you got to go ice cold in your play, especially in an exacta play. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Tom's d'Etat and go ice cold over by my standards. So ice cold 5-1, hoping that, I've always said that I feel like these kind of classic races, classic distances always kind of seem to fit the same run styles. Those run styles will go, 1-2. But what I'm going to want to do is I know it's a short field, but I'm going to try to stretch this play out to a very skinny trifecta, and I want to use Tom's d'Etat on top with by my standards, and then Code of Honor because Code of Honor has suck up for second or third written all over it. And that gives me some, if I'm right dead on Tom's d'Etat over by my standards, then I've got the chance to hit the exact ice cold and then just need Code of Honor to sneak into third for the try. If I miss with by my standards underneath, then I'm still alive in a try play if by my standards fades down into third. So also can't overlook the pick one here. If Tom's d'Etat is anything greater than even money, then that's going to be a big win bet. And I'm probably going to take my top two opinions and double here, which I know we were talking exotics, but I definitely want to do like a Whitney Jerkins double with no parole to Tom's d'Etat and no parole.
Yeah, very much. We're looking at this the same way. For me, Tom Zeta, anything over even money, just big win bet in this race. As far as a vertical or any within this race bet, my play would be again the same thing you're trying to do. Tom Zeta over no parole is the double that I want to have, and then I'm gonna probably try to slam a big, very skinny. Pick three here as well, but we'll talk about that as we get a little further on going through stuff here. Let's go over to the 10th. Let's talk a little bit of Ellen's Jerkins. I think we're both probably on the same page here in thinking that no parole wins this more than half the time. He's a pretty high percentage winner.
Yeah, and really landed post draw wise in the money positions that we talked about early. Right smack dab in the middle of the field. I've actually heard that outside of like post six on these furlong races haven't been that great. So he's just right there, right where he needs to be. Um, I love this race. Love this race for vertical betting because uh, I often feel that when you have an all star horse that is going to run the field into the ground, a lot of times it's like your second, third options will just pack up and fucking quit, just call it a day. And so I feel like there's a ton of value, especially with the way that this race is going to run with no parole foreseeably way out on the lead, really pulling those, the second pace waves of the early pressers, the pressers out of their comfort zone. It's going to open it up for some big prices closing in, sucking up for second and third underneath. So what I was thinking here was once again, if I get a fair price on no parole, got to play it to win. And then I'm going to use play exactas and tries, keying no parole on top. And then I'm going to use the 3, the 8, the 9, and the 10 underneath in an exacta and also in the try. So it would be 6 over 3, 8, 9, 10, 3, 8, 9, 10 in the try. With those horses being um, Three Technique, Sonneman, Liam's Pride, and Captain Bombastic. I'm looking at the horses that have the best late speed figures because I got to think that with no parole, those other early pace horses are probably going to be just sucking wind by the time they hit the turn. And so I really want to try to, take a small price and just boom it underneath with some big prices and closers.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at this again very much the same as you. I think No Parole is the most likely winner, and I think he wins this race just a massive, probably 90% of the time. Obviously he can get the distance, and he is, the speed of the speeds in here. I think he sits for just a really nice trip. He got that preferred draw. He's right in the where you want to be at 7 furlongs at Saratoga. And I think if you can get better than 7-5, he's another just win slam sort of candidate. I think 7-5 is kind of my line in the sand with him. If I can get morning line, I will be tickled, and I have no problem betting him with a very large win bet at sort of those 9-5 level odds. Hopefully he wins, and I will be cashing my double from the previous race into him, and then just I need the next leg to get that get that pick 3 home. But yeah, I like your structure here. Three Technique is another horse I do like in here. I don't know how I want to utilize him though. And Jeremiah has been pretty cold. And I will say we were talking about this whole bias thing at Saratoga, sort of that 2 through 8 or what a 2 through 6 hole. You had the first winner on the meet at 7 furlongs today, who is outside of that box, and that was in the 7 hole, so one slot outside. So I think there's a lot of horses out here that make a lot of sense, whether it be a 3 Technique or a Tap It to Win or those kind of horses. But I think with how the track's playing and how that 7 furlong draw works, it's just going to be really hard to get one of them into the win side. You want to go on to the next?
Sure. Just one quick word. The horse that I think is going to possibly just put Tiger Bomb on the nuts of the trifecta or superfecta in this race is Sonneman. Looking at the Briz late pace figure, that horse is a 102. That horse is going to be flying late, and he's going to be passing tired horses like crazy. Like that, I love these horses for trifectas to suck up into third because they can take a really chalky trifecta and make it into something.
Yeah, and Sonneman's sort of an interesting horse in this spot. I actually did a video about his previous race, the Easy Goer, because people were up in arms that he set off 20 cents on the dollar in his last race, and he basically didn't run a step. And the reason was it was a 2-horse race, and the other horse was a speed, and he had no speed to close into. The reason you're getting 50-1 on him and not having him win his last, and be getting 8-1 on him, is because he had no pace to close into. So we really don't know what's happened to him after coming out of the Henning barn and into the Asmussen barn. You're getting paid an absolutely massive price. I don't think he's a win candidate, but man, bottom end of a trifecta all day long.
Yeah, and just I love that Ricardo Santana Jr. did not get the mount for this horse. I mean, obviously there are other horses that Asmussen would rather have him on, but just really kind of serendipitous that Lizcano ends up with that mount, because I feel like he's probably more likely to get that sort of suck up run into second or third than Ricardo is.
And I will say, Lizcano has been having a very quietly stellar meet. He's 20% of the meet, 7 for 37. So, for a jock that's considered that sort of second tier of jock, he's doing pretty good. His stats aren't that far behind somebody even like a Rosario. So Lizcano's been really, I don't think he's been doing most of his damage on the dirt, but having a really stellar meet. So.
He and Linda Rice should just get married, so they don't have to split out the purses. They can just keep the trainer's cut and the jockey's cut all in one bank account.
Dude, there would be some really weird relations considering the Jose and his wife combo back to Linda. There'd be some really weird family dynamics with that one.
It would make a wreath at the end of the day.
Yeah, it would just be a gigantic circle. Yes, it would be.
Yep.
I want to make a south of the Mason-Dixon, Arkansas comment here, and I'm just gonna hold it.
It's. I was actually going to make it for you, so I'm good. We can just walk past this, move on to the bowling.
Pretend it never happened and go to the Bowling Green. So, what are you thinking in the Bowling Green?
I love Marzo. I'm a big fan of Mike Maker. Put in together with Three Diamonds Farm. I feel like with no clear favorite here, this is just a great exacta box race, and I'm going to use some other kind of under the radar horses that I really like in this race, which includes Dot Matrix. I'm very high on Dot Matrix. I've been a big fan of Dot Matrix. I've won some money, especially kind of just hitting minors. And then I'm going to use Pillar Mountain. I'm going to hope that Marzo can maybe put the Channel Maker cross border down with a nice middle move. And then I just want him, I want Marzo to finish, up in that top 2 with Pillar Mountain and Dot Matrix. If one of those two get on top of Marzo, great. If Marzo stays on top, 8-1 morning line, nothing to sneeze about. And with Sadler's Joy, Channel Maker, Cross Border, and even Dot Matrix Center, you know that you're going to get a fair price. And I feel I feel like I know all these horses, and I hate all of them except for my hometown faves with Marzo, who was an Oaklawn horse that did not run a lick on dirt, and everyone expected he would. Mike Maker picks him up, and he turns into a turf monster.
Yeah, I'm, personally here, I'm all over Cross Border. I think Cross Border is my horse. It's a horse that I, in a field of horses that I don't trust at all. This is one horse I know at least likes the surface, and he can at least get the distance. Jose Ortiz from Mike Maker. So I took the other Mike Maker. I will say though that Marzo is sort of interesting. These mile and 3/8 races are predominantly won from very off the pace horses. You saw the maiden today, and you're going to have a maiden earlier on the card on Saturday. Both of this mile and 3/8. It's not a distance they run a ton of. So I find it kind of Marzo is sort of intriguing. It's another horse that I don't feel like I know that well. He's not a win monster. None of these are. And I don't hate you sort of that box. I know a couple of the guys in the stream were really on Pillar Mountain. Not a horse that I love, but I do respect when a couple of the guys can make a pretty good argument for a horse. For me, Cross Border is going to be probably the third leg of a pretty slammed pick 3 here. Ooh, excuse me.
Ooh, just take a couple more sips of that fire water. Rinse that cough down.
Ooh.
Now, the Caress, there are 2 long shots in the Caress that are horses that the stream team, the On the Wrong Leadles, have been high on. And this dates back to, I think, our first On the Wrong Lead live stream that we did. The first one being Miss Gossip. We nearly caught a bomb last year with Miss Gossip. If you remember that race, I want to say it went off like 30-1 morning line, and we got it to run like second. And then the other one, a horse that our friend Josh Cherry Trank Rodriguez very very big on, been big on the last like 3 starts. Jakarta. Jakarta making the run, the cut back, or sorry, the switch back to turf, the cut back in distance back to 5.5 furlong, gets a great post draw for an 18-foot temp rail on the 5.5. Same with Miss Gossip, and this feels like my just like swan song. Like if I catch this trifecta, like I'm not gonna go outside because I might get hit by a fucking bus. As soon as I step out on the front porch. But I'm looking at maybe taking Miss Gossip and Jakarta and wheeling them on top in a part wheel, and then throwing the 2 in with them. I'll handle the cash. So going 5-10 to 5-10, and if I'm starting that trifecta with a 12-1 and a 10-1 on top, and it means I have to hit one of those, huh? Yeah, and so I'm going all in the last leg, because if I can get those 3, those 2 horses in an exacta, and I don't get the third leg, I am going to kill myself. So I will probably, go with a big. I always give Mark shit for hitting the all button in these verticals, but it is totally warranted here, and I would fully condone it.
Yeah, there's no real no favorite that's going to take a ton of money in here. I like Jakarta quite a bit in here. I also like I'll handle the cash quite a bit in here. And the other one that I like quite a bit is Delika, the Al Stall horse. And I think all of them get probably a proper post pull for this sort of a trip. I would use all 3 of them equally, and probably to be trying to play doubles out of the previous race. If I hit that early double, I might set up a late double where I do a 2 over 257, and maybe I stagger the wager sizes a little. It'll be interesting to see what the probables are. I think Jakarta goes off at a bit shorter than 10-1. I think there's too many people that see all that early speed, and how you're getting Say has a lot of early speed, and it's very tactical. So I would imagine that. I imagine he'll take some more money than he did in his last 2. And, obviously he's getting some class relief, or she's getting some class relief here as well. So unless you have anything else in here, any other races on this sequence that you have found interesting?
I do want to make a note of what you just said regarding getting Sayas in that race. That is when it comes to learning how to play track bias, you start off playing checkers, which is, okay, this post is good, the speed is good, the closers are good. Then you move into the more elaborate stuff, like who's coming off of running against a bias. I feel like, hitting the junior senior level classes of dealing with bias have to deal with learn your jockeys, learn their tendencies, and learn when a track plays exactly to it. Sometimes in the channels you might hear me or Mark say that it's a, oh, it's a Ricardo Santana Jr. day. It's a Joel Rosario day, and what we mean by that isn't that they necessarily have the most live mounts. It's that they're playing on a track that just fits their style so well.
Yeah, and I would say, and I think what we mean by that with how the turf was playing, you want to be on or just off. And I think Saez is one of those. He's a fairly aggressive jockey. He's going to be forwardly placed in here. He may be on the lead or just slightly off it. And he's, as far as jockeys go, he is one of the better jocks at being on a speed horse and being able to pay that speed out, where he's not rating them so much that the horse is fighting him, but he's also not letting that horse completely run free. He's using that speed very tactically, and he knows what he has and he knows what he's sitting on, and he's very good at measuring it very well in the end of races. And that's why he hasn't been lighting on fire, but he's also lost a week there with COVID. So
Yep,
yeah.
and he's been able to save just enough in the tank to get that early speed horse to just kick free. Not necessarily today, but definitely yesterday, and I want to say Wednesday as well.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So, did you want to talk any of the other races here?
So Hidden Scroll, when does Hidden Scroll start giving rides around the oak tree at birthday parties? Because I just don't think that racing is for that horse. They've thrown every possible kind of race at it. They're trying again with another turf race. Do we eat our words with Hidden Scroll today or
No,
tomorrow?
no, I don't think we do. I realize I just don't think Hidden Scroll likes winning. Hidden Scroll has basically run, two races in his career. Hit that maiden breaker that with it got everybody talking in the slop at Gulfstream. And then, his other one was that it was an optional 35 at Gulfstream. Is he just a Gulfstream Park monster? Could be. Is he just a horse that needs really, really soft company to show? Maybe. That could be the case as well. But he's going to take a ton of money in here. And I want absolutely no part of him. And this is tomorrow's second. This Saturday card is very interesting because there are a lot of hype horses and known horses, names that people will remember that are running in undercards in weird spots here. And they're trying to make Hidden Scroll into a turf horse. I get it. The pedigree's there. Both turf starts have been pretty abysmal. He tossed Johnny V in the first one, and then, basically dueled with the speed and then completely collapsed in the Jaipur. So getting a ton of class relief here. So I just don't see it.
If Hidden Scroll doesn't perform, we're sitting in this is going to be an optional claimer. This race. Do we see Hidden Scroll racing for a tag next out if he just completely underwhelms again? Juddmont's got too much pride.
Judge Mott's got too much pride. He'll just disappear and go into witness protection and never be seen again.
I hope he's delicious.
No, they will, turn him out, and he will run around a pasture and be a happy Hidden Scroll who was just a tragically massive disappointment.
And I told you, we talked about maybe talking some Everfast, and I only have one thing about Everfast, and it's just a story, which is the only. I always want to talk shit about Everfast, but literally the only time I ever did, I said the ironically named Everfast, and he won his only race of his career. So, in an effort to not talk him into the winner's circle, I'm going to say the adequately named Everfast.
Everfast has been a horse that they have campaigned about 6 levels above his quality. He is a trier. He works his butt off. He does his best whenever he runs. He's just not that good, and that's kind of how I look at him. The problem is here, I think he drew into a fairly salty race, and he's getting some class relief, but, he almost beat Owendale 2 back. But I don't even know if this is enough. He's going to be very short in here. They have him 2-1 on the morning line. I bet you he's even money or less. And at that kind of a price, I will probably try and beat him. Maybe somebody. The one that really that I was a little more interested in here was Foolish Ghost, the 5. Herrera Ortiz gets up for Bruce Brown. That seemed like a horse that has a ton of early speed. If the and it might be loose speed here. And I was sort of super interested in. But I think there's a lot of ways you can get around Everfast in this race. It's a pretty salty race. And I realize what they're trying to do here. They're trying to drop him down, find a level where he's competitive at, get him a win, maybe get some confidence going, and then move him back up again. This is a rough spot. Maybe he runs to his odds, but he's going to be probably way too short for his actual chances of winning.
And with Everfast, and also was it Mr. Oh, it was Sir Winston that won the Preakness last year, wasn't it? I was thinking Mr. Winston. God, horse owners, please just give me a little bit more like diversity in your names. I understand like naming with the bloodlines is cool and all. And if you come up with something clever, great. But please stop making me, confuse Mr. Winston and Sir Winston together, because it's a real dick move and it makes me look like a real asshole.
Well,
I don't need any help with that.
Yeah, you don't need any help in that. Yeah, and I think the other one in here that's this sort of big name hype horse that's going to probably take a lot of money is going to be, and I think we talked about the race, but we didn't actually talk about the horse. 8 Rings is running in the Jerkins, and again, a horse I want no part of. I think Caleb referred to 8 Rings as a takeout reducer yesterday, and I very much agreed with that. But again, this is a horse that I think if you are a casual horse player, that's a name because, again, massive hype horse that just has never showed it. Besides, the maiden score in the American Pharoah, and the American Pharoah didn't come up that fast. So, a horse that I'm seeing 8-1 on the morning line would be not shocked at all, considering Rosario again has this mount. If that horse gets cut in half and you're playing with a 7-2 or 4-1 type horse, and that just makes odds better on horses that can actually win this race.
Yeah, 8 Rings. For the price that he went off at in the BC Juvenile, looking at a $1.50, a $1.50 to 1 after a big run in the American Pharoah, which, if I remember correctly, I want to say just like calamity happened in the American Pharoah, but I might be thinking of like a Ginobili or like Storm the Court or something. But I was a benefit of the overbet 8 Rings, because I had a was it Storm the Court that won at 45 to 1 in that one?
Yeah, that's not talk about that race, because I had the other hype horse that was in that race.
Overall,
another horse that's gone into witness protection.
You're right. Overall for tomorrow, looking at the stakes races, I feel like I've covered my bases. Like, I've got my exotic plays I want to make. I know where I need to really kind of nut up, because I've got a strong opinion on a horse that's probably going to take some money. I know that, I figured out how I want to suck value out of those horses using horses underneath. I've said fuck Bob Baffert in every race where a Bob Baffert horse is entered. I haven't used them at all. So it's a pretty standard chase day when it comes to those plays.
Yeah, and I said the only thing we didn't talk about, I know we haven't seen works come out yet today, so we are still sort of twitching and waiting for those to come out. But we talked on the stream last night. Midnight Bisou, I think, is going to be extremely short, and I think Midnight Bisou is is going to be so short that is not going to be bettable. So when I find a race like that, I'll try to double in and just single that horse. And or either double in, double out, pick 3 in, pick 3 out. So this is obviously pre-works, but assuming I'm going to single Midnight Bisou in the bottom end of a daily double, I really like this race 4 into, in. The horses that made sense were Dreams of Tomorrow, the 3 horse. If anything scratches inside, I would probably toss that horse. But, Shug McGahee, really good figs. Jose Ortiz stays, Blinks go on. This horse had 2 chances and run, the best and second best fig in the field. And the other 2 in here that I like quite a bit of is the 5, I'm a Pharaoh, which is obviously American Pharoah. We're not on turf today, but this is horses going back to the dirt, which seems to be its preferred surface. And it's Todd with a rat up at Saratoga. I would imagine this one's live. And the other one in here that I was a little shocked on the price in the morning line, just being somebody who's played Saratoga for a long period of time, is the other Todd Pletcher, Obsessed, the 9 on the outside. 12 to 1 on the morning line. Obviously, it's not a post that I love. Let's see what scratches do. But, a scratch or two makes all the world in the difference in the world here. But Pletcher is very, very, very good off these long layoffs, these 180-day plus layoffs. And Johnny V, who is Pletcher's go-to jock for a million years, ends up out here on this horse, was on it last time. This one has every right to move forward, and you're getting paid 12 to 1 for somebody who hits 30% in the 180-day plus layoffs. It seems like this horse should be, more like 4 to 1. So that's one I want to have in that double, and I'll probably Dutch it a little bit. I'll probably stagger some wager sizes depending on what the payouts are to Bisu, and I really kind of like that, and I think that's a super slammable double.
I I'm gonna try to get around Bisu. I'm going to play a hunch and say that no Mike Smith, no DVD, no Drayden Van Dyke. I'm going to say maybe that's a chink in the armor, though the horse doesn't have many or any at
No,
all.
none.
But Saratoga's the graveyard of champions, and I might make a little contrarian daily double pick 3 where I try to get around Bisu, because if I'm right, I get paid. I'm probably going to win bet point of honor there, because Bisu is going to be slammed to oblivion, and it's rightfully so. She is an amazing filly. Hell, the race where she lost to Maximum Security, the Saudi Cup, was a top notch effort. Like she is all deserving all the praise. But I'm going to say that maybe something quirky happens, and I'm going to try to get around Bisu. I have absolutely no qualms with someone doing that Bisu slam, because I mean, I'm praying for a miracle. You guys are betting something that's probably going to happen. Is how I feel about it. But I feel like it's a just close enough of a possibility, a reality of a miracle, that I'll try.
Yeah, I don't hate that, and I think there's a way of doing it. And how I would do it is, you can have your daily double slam, and then you do a pick 3 slam where you slam to Midnight Bisu, and then you play a very skinny pick 3 where you use the rest of the field. So you're effectively playing an A and C with a double levered A. You're using the double and the pick 3 on top of each other to build extra leverage, and then you have this backside play. Should somebody not named Midnight Bisu come in, you could be covered to a massive price, because I honestly don't think either of the logicals. I mean, I think everybody's trying to get vexation there. I just don't see it, and I don't see point of honor either. When we have had these sort of extremely short-priced, amazingly hyped fillies that have lost at Saratoga, and Rachel Alexandra becomes the one that jumps into my mind in the personal ensign, right? So yeah, there's some history with this race. The horse that beat her was, I think, the longest or second longest on the board in like a 7 or 8 horse field. So if you want to get around Midnight Bisu, you have to hope that calamity sort of happens. And when that does happen, you tend to not get the logical, you tend to get a pricier horse.
Yep. Yeah. Just sometimes you have to expect the unexpected. And this might, we if I want to get around Midnight Bisu, I feel like a really boned up superfecta play might be great there, keying Midnight Bisu in second. Because if Midnight Bisu does not win, mark my words, she will be in the exacta, where I could take maybe like 3 or 4 horses and just, you know, completely wheel them around Bisu in second. Or if I'm being a little bit more strategic with it, I'm going to take Vexatious, Point of Honor on top, key Bisu in second, and then use all everyone except for Bisu and third and fourth, and maybe kind of bump that up from a 10 cent to $1 to $2, and try to make a big splash in a short field. I love hitting those well-paying superfectas in super short fields using that kind of slim structure. So something I might be doing. I also might be a fucking idiot because Midnight Bisu is amazing, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that. Don't hate that at all. So I think we'll call it there. If you like this content, like some of the picks that Chase and I are throwing out here, give us a like and a subscribe. It means a lot to us. We are on the wrong lead. And until next time, good luck at the races.